welcome to the Science Faction Podcast, where science meets fact meets fiction.
This is Science Faction for the week of April 27th, 2025. I'm one of your hosts, Stephen Dominguez, and with me this week, two individuals, both of which having an okay day.
I'm Benjamin Daniel Wallace. Yeah.
Devin Kraft.
You both sound okay.
Yeah, an okay day. Okie day.
Okie
as
day.
they would say in Gungan.
In Gungan? Oh, no.
Oh, my gosh, you guys. Did y'all actually watch the Naboo movie that I talked about?
No, I didn't get a chance to.
Oh, Devin, I guess you probably don't know what I'm talking about.
Movie?
He has no idea what he's been gone for 2 weeks.
It's a Boo movie.
All right, so if you search on YouTube for the Naboo movie, you will find a live reading of a like the shooting script for Star Wars Episode 1: The Phantom Menace, with a bunch of comedians reading everything. So you got Bobby Moynihan, you have Tawny Newsome, Eric Bauza, and it is absolutely hilarious. But the thing I didn't realize when I last talked to y'all, because I'd only watched like the first 10-15 minutes, is who they got to play Anakin is absolutely incredible.
Who is it?
Haley Joel Osment.
Beautiful.
Okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Does he do a little kid voice, or does he?
No. He does not. And in fact, there are sometimes when he's flipping through, like he's reading through his lines, he's like, God, this is so stupid. I can't believe George made me read this. It's so good too, because he's playing off of Tawny Newsome, who you know from Star Trek Lower Decks as Becca Mariner.
Yeah.
And she's playing Padme.
Okay.
And so there are so many times when like the narration is like they look at each other lovingly or whatever, and she's just like, you know, okay, that's cool, kind of like a little smile, and like gives him a thumbs up because this is really weird.
That's hilarious.
Absolutely incredible performance from the George Lucas talk show and Dynasty typewriter. One of my good friends is going to go see their live taping of the reading of episode 6 in a couple weeks. And so, yeah, like that's how I found out about it.
Dynasty typewriter. That's one of the improv comedians I would listen to on the podcast that ended a while ago. So now I can't even think of the name of it, but she was the owner of Dynasty typewriter. So she would promote it all the time.
Right on.
Cool. Awesome. Well, Devin, you have been absent from this podcast for far too long.
What gives, Devin?
What's up, man? Why? Did we scare you?
So, the weekend before last, or is that 2 weekends ago? It's hard to, I guess. So last weekend I was in Barcelona. The weekend before that was Jen's sister's wedding, was on Saturday. And so they had a bunch of family in town, and a lot of them were staying with us. So it was pretty hectic. Mm-hmm. It was fun, but, you know, lots of people around, so it was hectic. And also, people were sick, especially first. It was actually Jen's sister, the bride. She like went and got like an IV the day before the wedding, I guess, to try to like head off the sickness. I didn't know that was a thing, but it seemed to have worked. I don't know. You like get new blood or antibiotics or something, but
what kind of witchcraft is she practicing? Well, I'm sorry. You can just okay. So an IV is just means intravenous.
Yeah, just whatever medicine.
What did they put in her?
I don't know. I didn't.
Okay, fake.
Didn't
juice.
Totally care, but
okay. Oh, you didn't care. Oh, all right.
I mean, I cared that she was, you know, healthy and, you know, felt good for her wedding. Like, I didn't want her to be sick on her wedding day. That would suck.
Okay. Well, yeah, of course.
But my son Nolan got sick, and he was sick for like a while. He didn't go to school like the whole next week.
Oh.
And then my other son, Elliot, got sick, and then I eventually got sick right before we went to Barcelona.
Yeah.
And I was telling you guys before the podcast because I sound sick now, but definitely I was sick the day we flew there, and because we flew on a Friday afternoon, and then we landed Saturday morning there. There's a 7-hour time difference. And then I felt like exhausted from the flight and, the time change. But once I got like a good night's sleep, I think I felt fine. I didn't think I was still sick, but now I got back and I'm like stuffy. So I guess I am still sick. But yeah, so it's been crazy. Like, so the day after the wedding, we went to a funeral. So it was like a lot at once.
Jeez. Okay.
Yeah, it was a friend of ours here who he passed away from cancer, and so it was a very big. It wasn't like we went to the funeral at like a church where it was like there was a thing afterwards, that was at. Well, so there's a brewery in town, but it's on a big piece of property, and they have a huge stage because they have bands play there. And so we went to it, and it was packed. There were like a couple hundred people there, if not more. So it was more like we went to the
celebration of life.
Say wake or reception, or they called it a celebration of life. So.
Yeah, that's the common parlance.
Yeah, which I mean, yeah, I didn't know him that well. Like, we'd hung out like a few times at like dinner parties and stuff, and there was a time within the last year we all went like on a boat together because we rented a boat. But yeah, so there was that. So it was a lot, and lots of religious stuff, of course, because the wedding, they're very religious. So the wedding was at a church and full of religion. And then
wait, you went to a church that was full of religion?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, and then the celebration of life, which, I mean, do what you want. Oh, absolutely. It's your
funeral.
Life and end of life. But well, and this has nothing to do with the people involved.
Right.
It's just so hard for me. These huge events, milestones in your life and death, and just being so, I don't know, I guess lately more interested in religion and why people believe in it. It just I just can't help but feeling like you're giving yourself to this, in my opinion, fantasy.
Yep.
And it dominates everything. Like, it's all just about, like, we're doing this for Jesus, and it's like, can't you do anything for yourself? Like,
what are you, selfish? You're gonna go to hell.
Well, yeah, that's fine. But this again, it's probably not. It's not nice of me to be sitting there while all these things are going on, and people are, it's all about other people and they're doing their thing. But it's just one of those, like, it's like everything is just about that. I'm like, I guess because when I going to the wedding, I'm like, okay, it's at a wedding, or it's at a church, they're religious, there's going to be some religious stuff, but I expect it to be more about, like, oh, we're doing this, and this is how we feel, and this is our lives, and oh yeah, God is good, and we're uniting under Jesus or something. But it's like reading scriptures, and then everything is all in the lens of you're doing this within religion and for religion, and it's all just about being closer to God, and it's all about, like, we're now one with Jesus. I'm like, can you do anything else? Can you just have an imagination? I mean, like,
well, obviously you don't believe.
No, well, that's another thing. When we were in Barcelona, so we went with Jen's sister and her husband, because it's actually their honeymoon, and they invited us to go for a little while. They're actually still there, so it's not like we encroached on their entire honeymoon. And they had an Airbnb, and we had a hotel, and they were a few blocks apart, so we weren't together the whole time.
Okay.
But they're religious. I mean, they're the people I'm talking about. Yeah. But he's a cool guy. Like, you guys would get along. And he's open about this stuff. So there was a night when we were in Barcelona. We went to a speakeasy, which was really cool. I have a lot to say about that because it was a really cool place, and I have video of the really cool drinks they had there. But anyway, we had like a long, open discussion about religion, and I was very open about my opinions, and he was open about his opinions. And Jen and Megan also were, there and
trying to distance themselves from you, crazy.
Jen was just kind of like bored with the conversation because she just doesn't. She's just not interested in this stuff. She's not religious. I realized at that time afterwards, I'm like, I've tried to get kind of out of her like what she believes, because I want to like respect what she believes or not believe, and if she has a funeral, I want to like incorporate the correct things, and her position is just like, I just don't care. And I realize, I'm like, that's actually really good. Like that's kind of what a lot of people are working towards,
Yeah,
it's like,
it doesn't
isn't
matter.
that the Zen, like whatever, it is what it is. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess you've achieved the thing that most people are working towards.
Turns
so
out,
that. But
Jen's
no, it was
perfect.
fun having an open conversation about it and a respectful conversation.
Yeah.
And I was I always felt good because I could finally be like as honest as I wanted to be, because always it's like talking with people about that stuff is always like, well, maybe it's not as, what everybody thinks, and there are other interpretations, but being able to be like, no, like, why do you believe in what's so obviously a fantasy without any evidence?
Yeah.
Like, and then his response would be like, well, I think there's plenty of evidence. It's like, okay, what is that evidence? And like, but getting into it in a passionate way, but also a respectful way, and it was a lot of fun. I actually really enjoyed that conversation. So it's funny that you asked me about what I've been doing, the wedding, the funeral, going to Barcelona, which is a lot of interesting, cool, fun stuff about Barcelona. But I feel like the overall theme has been religion, and I'm just like, I want to talk about this.
Well, there you go. I mean, that's cool to be able to talk to somebody like that who is, I'm guessing so strong in their faith that they don't mind talking about it.
Well, and he's well read in it too. Like a lot of the things I brought up, like we're both kind of like, I'm going to bring up this argument. You're going to say this because that's the typical response to this, but I'm going to say this because that's my counter. Like, someone who's familiar with like, the cosmological arguments and like fine tuning and things, where it's like, okay, you don't have to explain the entire argument to get to the discussion of the analysis of it. It's like we both actually kind of already know what it is.
Okay, that's awesome, man. So I'm gonna shift you a little bit. Tell me about the speakeasy.
So I looked up an article, just like what speakeasies there were in Barcelona, and I found some. And we were there, like we got in on a Saturday night, and we were so tired, we all went to bed early on Saturday night. So then it was Sunday. It was Easter Sunday was the next day.
Time for a speakeasy.
We were a little worried. That like everything would be closed because it's Sunday and it's Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
But most things were open, including the speakeasy. Jen and I actually that day, was that the day? Yeah. We went on like a whole tour. Like we joined a tour because Megan and Hutton, who's her husband, went to church. It's Easter Sunday. And so Jen and I joined a tour of like tapas and drinks, and so we at like noon joined this tour. And I know this isn't even about the speakeasy yet, but we had been drinking all day, which was a lot of fun because we thought, oh, it's a tour, they're going to give you like a little piece of food and like one little drink. But no, it was like, here's some drinks, we're just going to keep refilling them. And then walked around Barcelona and went to like 4 different restaurants and stuff, because that was a lot of fun.
Okay, so Easter Sunday, Devin got hammered. Got it.
Yeah. So we met up for dinner. We met up with Megan and Hutton. And then after dinner, people were tired, but I was like, no, I really want to go out. Like we can finally, last night we all had to get some sleep, but now we're on vacation. So I found a speakeasy that was close by, and we all went, and it was cool because first of all, it was a barbershop. That's what the front looked like. And so you wait to get in, and then when you're inside, they're like, what's the password? Because I had looked on the article that you had to know the password, so I looked it up on their Instagram what the password was.
What was it?
And then, so you go into this barbershop.
Oh, no. So hold on. What was the password?
Blackjack.
Okay. I'm just curious. You can't say there was a password and not tell us what the password was.
I mean, it wasn't anything like that, but they open up a wall at the in there, and then you go in, and it's actually like, I thought it was pretty empty because clearly when you look in, you only see an empty barbershop.
Yeah.
But we go in, and it's like crowded and lively, and so we got a table. The drinks, like the menu was like a map of the United States, and every drink was named after like a big city in the United States. And which also was funny because at the time I'm like, well, why is it so U.S. centric? Like,
yeah.
we're in Barcelona, and then I realized I'm like, well, because speakeasies are a U.S. invention. They're about prohibition.
Ah, that makes
Right.
sense. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until a little while longer later. Um, but like, it's like I got, what was mine called? Mine was called like a Nashville or something. So it was like their version of an old fashioned. But when I got it, like
Huh.
it came in a safe. Like they gave you the key, and I had to open the safe to get the drink out.
Okay.
Hmm.
So things like that. But it was done really cool. Like it sounds cheesy, but it
Yeah.
actually was really cool. And I have videos of all these. Like one of the drinks that we got comes in a like a Russian nesting doll. So you have to take off like the tops to get to the drink.
Whoa.
Whoa. Okay.
I got one that was called a Hollywood, where the drink was inside a bucket of popcorn, like a smallish bucket of popcorn, but it had actual popcorn on top. So the
Oh.
straw was sticking out and you could drink the drink, but also eat the popcorn on top.
Okay. So they took the like hiding, or the drinks need to be hidden to like a fun place.
Yeah.
That's cool. That sounds
Really
like a
cool
lot of
place.
fun, man.
And it's called Bobby's Free. It's a weird name, but the reason I bring it up is because in the article, I read Bobby's Free Will, because then it was the sentence was, will be the most fun you've ever had. But I read Bobby's Free Will, and I'm like, that's a weird name for a place. So while we were there, I thought the name of the place was Bobby's Free Will. And like, it's weird to name a place after someone's free will. And that's what started the conversation on religion, because I asked if I believed in free will, and I
Oh.
don't. And I got into that. And what's interesting is that free will is a very interesting topic of discussion for, outside of religion, but it's also a very interesting discussion within religion, because there's a split within religion with whether you have free will.
True.
And I guess they came down, I can't even remember. They're like, well, if you're reformed, you believe in free will. If you're not reformed, you don't believe in free will, or vice versa. So
Huh.
Okay.
that's what led into the discussion.
Wow.
Now I can't remember. I think I said I didn't believe in free will, and they said, well, you would be reformed then. And they're like, we don't agree with that. So they must believe in free will.
Okay.
Anyway, that's
Noted.
what started that discussion.
That's amazing, man. So overall, Barcelona, would you recommend that as like a vacation spot?
Yeah, definitely.
But only if you have
Like I
free
haven't even
will?
gotten into like the cool architecture and stuff, but yeah, if you like, we kind of stuck with the like mostly like going out and like going to restaurants and drinking and stuff. But like we went to the Sagrada Familia, which is this huge cathedral that's still being built. It's 100 years old, and they're going to finish it in 2026, which is 100 years after it started construction.
Whoa.
Why
And if you look at pictures, it's a cathedral of cathedrals. It's like cathedrals are already huge and, ornate and complicated. This is like that times 10.
Wow. What was it called again?
The Sagrada Familia. Here, I can even
Yeah. Put a link to something.
I can give you. Here's a picture of it. That didn't work.
They haven't forgot how the internet works. It's okay. It's hard.
Yeah. I've got it.
You can look. The thing is, it's unfinished, so you can, if you look at pictures from the past, like you'll see it in different stages, and you can find like an artist rendering of what it's going to look like when it's done.
That looks huge.
It's massive. It's these huge spires. Every side of it looks different because the artist he incorporated so much. And another thing about Barcelona. So Antoni Gaudi is an artist and architect, and apparently he is Barcelona. Like everything in Barcelona is about him, because he designed this thing. He designed this huge park that's got all these crazy things. He's got like different houses there. Like we toured this building that was designed by him, and it's like every floor, like the first floor looks like you're like underwater. He is the city. Like everything is about him in the city. So
Wow. All right.
yeah.
Cool. Well, there's going to be a link in our show notes to look at this giant cathedral, which just looks obnoxious. But like, if you're into architecture, great. All right.
It is so ornately detailed. It looks like it's a natural formation of stone, but that is not. Like you zoom in and it's like, oh, geez.
Like it looks more like what would be in a sci-fi movie. Like this would be CGI, and it would be like, here's this insanely huge thing we have to go to get the item, and it's so ridiculous. Of course, it doesn't exist in the real world, so we had to build it with miniatures or CGI. But in this case, it's real.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Cool.
Yeah, and they have a virtual tour on their website, which is pretty sweet. You can kind of like.
Oh, so you don't even have to go. Kevin wasted his money. Got it. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I'm wondering if I can like do this virtual tour in VR. Is really what I'm kind of curious.
Check it
about.
out. It's really cool, and inside it's really cool too because
It's so colorful inside.
Yeah.
But like, it's a cathedral, so it's for Jesus.
It ultimately, yeah.
I'm sure that's what he would have wanted.
Jesus demands to be worshipped.
Speaking of
as long as they're not selling things inside, and then I think Jesus would be like, well, this is just a thing. It is just a room, just a building.
I heard someone on a call-in show for an atheist show recently who was like trying to transition from religion, and they're like, yeah, it's like, I believe God exists, and you're his bitch. It's like, I got to get away from that.
Wow. Okay. Moving on.
I kind of want to come back to that, but trying to unpack that. Wow.
Take a
It's
minute.
true. I mean, it's a very succinct way of putting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good.
Maybe mid-pod we can talk about that a little more.
Speaking of things that make you its bitch, I went to Disneyland a few days ago.
Oh, wow. Yes. It's all about religion.
Yeah.
Obviously.
All hail Walt.
Oh.
So no, we went to the Disney After Dark Star Wars night, which has turned into, now this is the second year in a row we've gone, and it's kind of
has it become too commercial?
It no. It is only commercial. How could it be more?
It's just too commercial now.
Star Wars used to be so underground.
Is this what George would have wanted?
As he's swimming in a pool of money, I'm sure he's fine.
Yeah. From the white slavers, yeah.
Jeez. Settle down, Ben. What did you have? Half a cup of coffee this morning? Chill out.
Yes, I did.
No, so Martine and I, this is the second year we've gone, and it's kind of our like what's it called? Your wedding thing every year. Anniversary.
An anniversary?
That's the word I was looking for. It's kind of our anniversary trip because it was just us, no kids. It's the deal where they close the park down at like 8:00 and then you're able to stay until like 1 a.m. And then everything turns into Star Wars themed, and there's places to take photos, and there's shows, and there's things and stuff, and it's a lot of fun. There were a couple things before we went. I was like, hey, wife, I would really like to build another lightsaber because I love lightsabers. Like there was one point in our past where she looked at me dead in the eye and said, how many lightsabers is enough? And I looked at her straight back and said, there will never be enough.
Ask General Grievous.
Yeah. I have so many in my collection now, you guys. So she was like, yeah, that's cool. So we tried to make an appointment, right? Savvy's workshop. You usually make an appointment. And there were none for the night. Like all the appointments had been taken up. And we're like, of course, Star Wars night. Everyone comes. And if this is their only time they're going to do it, might as well make a lightsaber, blah, blah, blah. So that was like, okay, that's off the table. That's fine. No big deal. So we get in there and we're looking at stuff and we're deciding what rides to go on. And we're like, you know what? We should go to the workshop and just see if there's like any walk-up availability or anything. This is after we went on the Snow White ride and the Pinocchio ride, and we're both like, these are horrifying for children. This is great. These are so frightening. So we went to Savvy's, and we're like, and it's dark at this point, and little lights on and stuff. There's a bunch of people hanging out in that area, and we're like, hey, is there any availability? I'm like, yeah, just head right over there, get your name on the list. And we're like, really? They're like, oh yeah, we didn't take appointments for tonight. You have to walk up. And so that was like amazing, awesome. So, and one of the reasons why I wanted to make another one, not only because I love lightsabers, but because The lightsaber styles have changed. They're on series 2 now. So I have one from series 1, and now they're on to series 2. So those ones before, you can't make those anymore. Those parts aren't available. That's done now. So now they're on to series 2. And I had looked it up online because they changed like a few years ago, I think, or a year ago, something like that. The design, there's the parts for one of them in particular. There was this one part. I was like, I love this part. This part looks awesome. And it's the emitter part, and there's like this shroud over half of it with like this metal that has holes in it. It just looked cool. And so I'm like, I want to make one with that. And that's what happened. We had to come back like an hour later for my appointment, got in there, made the lightsaber. And it was cool because they're like, it's like partly a show, when you go in there and they close the doors and the guy's talking about the history of lightsabers and kyber crystals, the whole deal. It's it's a thing.
Yeah. I heard it's a scam.
It's such a scam. You give them all your credits and then you get a toy. A metal toy, but still a toy. No, it was cool because there were like there was a couple kids in there and they were just like wide-eyed, like this was their, like, it was real, and that was fun to watch. So then they give you the parts, right? And the guy's like, okay, first pick up this piece and then put your crystal in, and this is how you. And I just started building the thing, and one of the helpers came up and she was like, "Is this your first time building a lightsaber?" I was like, "No." She was like, "Okay, you can just do what you want to do." I was like, "Great." So I just sat there, I just put this thing together and looked at it. I was like, "This is awesome." Looked around. Everyone else is like on part number 1. I'm like, these guys. And then I set it down. There's like a little platform that you set it down on when you're done. And she came over to like inspect it because they have to come over and like make sure you built it right so the rest of the show can continue. So she picked it up. She was like, "Hey man, this is really cool." She was like, if I was to design one with these parts, this is how I would have done it. And I was like, are you being like a bartender now? Are you looking for a tip, or is this real? So then I went back to my pack and I pulled out, because I have this Star Wars pack that I wear to the Star Wars night, and I have my previous lightsaber like attached to it, like it's like strapped on, like because I'm a nerd. So I pulled it off. I was like, "Hey, check this. This is the one I did last time." And she like checked it out. She's like, "Oh, this is really." She's like, "This is from." She like leaned in because they're not supposed to break character. She's like, "This is from series 1, isn't it?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "That's pretty cool." I was like, "I know, right? You want to go back to my room later?" No. No, she was like, "Oh, this is awesome." I was like, "Thank you." And anyways, it was awesome. It was a fun experience. I got to build this new lightsaber. It looks really cool. I really like it. It's like the nature thing, so it has like wood and bone like built into it. So yeah. And then, so the other really cool thing about Star Wars Night, they have a new show where you go over to where the Millennium Falcon is, and there's the big like rocks like as a backdrop behind it, and this storyteller of Batuu comes out to like tell a story, and then they project what he's talking about onto these rocks, and they did the projection in such a way that it looks like the rocks are like a screen almost. And as he tells the story of episodes 1 through 6, this was in our past, and they don't know all the details, but they know like little bits and pieces. And but as he goes through the movies, like the background changes, and like some of the projection is over some of the buildings, and those buildings are like modified as well. Like when they get to the Hoth, they talk about Hoth, and like the buildings turn into like they look like they have ice frozen on them. However they did these projections, it's gorgeous. It's amazing. It's a wonderful show. And I think they only do the show for these Star Wars nights. I don't know. They might be like trying it out now, and then like later on, maybe they'll make it a thing. But it was really awesome. And we missed the first showing at 9 because I was building a lightsaber. The second showing was at 12 o'clock, or was it 12? No, it was 12. So like after that, it was like, it's time to go, pretty much. So that was really fun. The next day, because we did the Star Wars night, and then the next day we had the day to just do whatever we wanted because we wanted to have like a little mini vacation. So we ended up going to downtown Disney and just kind of browsing around, and it's great because we didn't have any kids screaming at us. So we were looking at all this stuff. long story short, went to the Star Wars, of course, shop, Star Trader, I think it's called. Anyways, I ended up buying another lightsaber. So
you bought 2 on your trip?
Yes, this was a 2 lightsaber trip. The second one is, so I have Cal Kestis's lightsaber from the video game Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, right? And it's his saber, and half of it's like broken apart, and it was his master's saber, and there's like a whole story behind it. And you could buy 2 of those sabers, and they both come with like a connector, so you can make it into a double bladed, like how his master had. And then it, was cut in half, and so he's got half of it. And as you play through the game, you upgrade it, and then you get a double bladed, blah blah blah. Well, I never got a second one because it was like, these are so expensive. Why would you buy 2? Well, they've put one out now that is from the second game. Cal Kestis's lightsaber from Star Wars Jedi Survivor. And it is the other half of the lightsaber, but with a proper hilt. And these 2 can also connect. But this one it was like a package deal where it's the lightsaber, a blade, and a stand and a belt hook all came together. And for like the same amount that the other one was, that was just a lightsaber. And so I turned to, when we figured out, so Martine was going to buy it for me in secret. Like after I showed interest in it, she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy this in secret and give it to him for our wedding anniversary." Well, it's not available online. This is the only place you get it. You go to the place to get it. And so she was like, "It's not available online. I'm just gonna buy it for you now, and this is your anniversary gift." I was like, "Yes, thank you, 100%. This is amazing." But then we were like, as we were like discussing things, and I was like, you know what I think they've done? Because they've also done a similar thing with Luke's lightsaber. I believe it's the Return of the Jedi lightsaber, where it comes with a stand and a blade and a belt hook and all that for the same cost as it used to be just for the hilt itself. It's like, oh, they can't put these things on sale. They have to keep them the same price. So now they're just like adding things to it so people keep paying the same amount. Because the stand is just like plastic. Like it's kind of wobbly. It's not the best. Anyways, it's fine. So yeah, this was a 2 lightsaber trip. And that was amazing. So happy anniversary to my wife and I. And I was like, oh, now I know how much to spend on you for my anniversary gift for you. And she was like, oh, great. It's like $220. It's ridiculous.
Oh,
We
God.
spent like $500 on lightsabers. It's so dumb. It's like the dumbest thing we could do. But I love them.
Here's the thing: is that you spend money on the things that either you need to have or that are going to bring you happiness.
I am so
good on you.
So full of joy right now.
Yeah.
With all my lightsaber. I was actually after we bought it and we were talking, I was like, I think it's time that I kind of redo my office and de-Legoize parts of it and put out more lightsabers. Because I had like a little lightsaber stand and back when there were only 4 of them, but now the collection has grown. So I need to display them because they're amazing and I love them so much. Anyways, that's what I did. Also, my Forge and Anvil came in the mail. So more blacksmithing tales soon. But that's for the future. Yeah, that's pretty cool as well.
You know what happened to me?
Tell me.
This morning, I had a lucid dreaming experience.
Oh, did you fly?
Well, okay, so we'll get there, Stephen.
Okay, all right. I want to tell me the good stuff. Did you have a lightsaber? Did you use the Force?
Down.
That's what I do in my lucid dreams.
So do you guys lucid dream?
I have, but I extremely rarely.
Yeah. Same.
Like I can't. The last time I remember lucid dreaming was probably like 10 years ago. So if I do, it's not something I remember.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I can't remember ever lucid dreaming. Oh. And it's been something I've really been like, well, that is interesting, but I've had no taste of it. Like I've only had, I think, one dream that I can recall where I was flying. And it was so weird because it was like in in a giant warehouse. It's like I wasn't even outside, and I like had to hold my neck at a weird angle in order to kind of hover, and it was
Ooh.
strange, as dreams are. But last night or this morning, so my family are out on a roller derby trip that involved us all waking up at 4:15 this morning and getting them out the door.
Gross.
So I got back to bed around 5-ish, and yeah, so like I had this dream where I looked out my kitchen window where my neighbor's house is, and instead of that house, there was a different house there. And my grandmother, who passed away, my grandma Vivian, who passed away several years ago, was there waving at me from her like kitchen window.
Oh.
And right then, that's what knocked me into, oh my gosh, this is a dream. I'm lucid dreaming, right? Like I know what's going on, and I can have control over this.
Oh.
And it was like super cool. So like I turned to Nicole and I told her what was going on, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go fly over to my grandmother's house. And
as
flying
you do.
didn't quite happen straight away. I was really shaky on my flying, but I was able to consistently hover. And then, like, once I realized that everything was kind of lucid dreaming, there was a weird glitchiness to everything that was around me.
Oh.
And so I got outside. There was like a labyrinth of elevated platforms to get between my house and my grandmother's house.
It turned into a video game.
Yeah, kind of. But it was also like, oh, hey, I recognize that my brain is setting up an adventure for me to go on, and I can choose to go on it, or I can choose to just fly over it. So I just chose to fly over it.
You literally chose
thanks,
your own
brain.
adventure. That's amazing.
Yeah. Thanks, brain. And, and so like it was an incredible thing seeing this apparition of my grandmother and being able to talk to her and cry with her. And yeah, it was really, really fascinating. And like I've had a lot of thoughts about sleep lately. I've got an Apple Watch, and I think that even though I hate Apple Watches for acting like watches, because they don't do a good job of telling you the time when you look at your wrist.
Uh-huh.
It's like I can get into it, but I'm not a big fan of Apple Watch as a watch.
Okay.
But some of the other information you get out of it when you agree to it is you can have it track your sleep cycles and determine like how long you spent in REM, and as well as deep sleep, core sleep, and the like. And when they, like when you awoke, what part of where you were at they were in. And so I've been keeping an eye on all those stats, as well as reading a book called Take a Nap, Change Your Life by Sarah Mednick, PhD. And the basic idea, I heard about this from the Tools for Possibilities newsletter, which it like. Now I admit that if you are in different times of your life, you may not have the ability, like based on your circumstance or based on your biology, to take a nap. But consider this, that right now, like we're going through an epidemic of people like working themselves and having chronic exhaustion. And perhaps a lot of the messed up things that we see that people do to one another is not people doing those things to one another. It's people reacting to a situation in which the entire system of life that we have is telling you that it's more important for you to not take care of yourself and get enough sleep than for you to,
Yeah,
So,
because you gotta work to make that money. That's what our corporate overlords want us to do.
And so, perhaps if you want to work better and be better at your job, maybe you need to pump yourself full of stimulants like caffeine.
Yeah.
And take 15 minutes to go down to the local barista and give them your money and all that sort of stuff. When a 15-minute nap would get you longer, more tangible benefits for going nowhere and doing a non-toxic thing.
Yes. Also, a real night's sleep. And not staying up with screens in your face helps.
Yeah. So I think I got into this journey before starting to read the book, thinking about, well, assuming I don't change anything about my nighttime sleep habits, how much can a nap bridge the gap there? And this book goes into a bit of that. It goes into a lot of the science of napping specifically, which is something that really wasn't a lot of science on sleeping, but not necessarily science on napping. And it even gets a bit further in into well, how do you use your circadian rhythm to create a designer nap that targets what you're trying to get out of it? Are you trying to get more alertness throughout your day? Are you trying to get added benefits from health and wellness benefits? Are you trying to lose weight through sleeping? Are you trying to
what?
But different types of not all sleep is REM sleep. Some sleep is SWS sleep, which is I'm forgetting what that stands for, but it's a type of sleep that aids in recovery.
What were the initials?
SWS.
SWS.
Yeah, SWS sleep. Slow wave something.
Salty with
is
salsa.
Is that the opposite of REM sleep, or?
That's a good.
I know
question.
there's different phases of sleep.
It's the kind of sleep where you lose your religion.
AI. Slow wave sleep, or SWS. It's this let's hear. Okay, so low key coughing and humming, noises that would wake you up during stage 2 now go unheard during slow wave sleep or stage 3 sleep. It will take a loud bang or sound of particular relevance, like your name or the cry of your baby, but oddly, not the cry of a stranger's child, to bring you back to the waking world. For children, the noise level can actually reach over 120 decibels. Think jet plane or rock concert before they abandon the cozy comfort of slow wave sleep. And so, checking your hormones now, we find that the cortisol spigot has completely shut off. This so-called stress hormone is no longer stripping away at your body tissue, wreaking catabolic havoc. Not only that, but the pituitary gland is spewing extra growth hormone to fix the damage. Besides promoting bone and muscle growth and protein synthesis, this hormone helps you metabolize fats, particularly cholesterol and carbohydrates, processing them out of your body instead of adding to the supply on your hips or belly. Slimming while you sleep is more than just a fantasy during slow wave sleep. So anyhow,
I would be concerned, what if you've set aside 15 minutes for a nap?
Yeah.
You can't just fall asleep by pressing a button. Doesn't it take time to fall asleep?
Certainly. I think that for me, the way that I have told myself that this is important is, the more that you set up a time that you're telling your body to do something, and you're kind of setting up the environment to work in your favor for that, you probably will find that it's easier to do it if you try it every day.
Training your body to do that every day at that time.
Theoretically, that's why I would imagine.
I feel like I can fall asleep quickly, especially. I like taking naps. I don't take a lot of naps, but I think I'd be fine doing that. But I know Jen probably wouldn't be able to do it. And I feel would you almost be frustrated if you set aside time to take a nap and weren't able to fall asleep? Or could it just be a time to relax? If you don't fall asleep, fine, but just don't worry about whether you fall asleep. Just take this 15 minutes to not think about work and just relax.
A thing that I've that I've been working towards a lot in my meditation practice is showing up and not expecting results, but noting what results do come. And so the one thing that I've kind of done, I use Insight Timer as an iOS app that I use for timing my my meditations, and they actually can allow you to like set the intention for your meditation time. One of the items is nap. So I have a preset that's set for like a 20-minute nap. I tap it and it's just like, okay, hey, we'll play a gong in 20 minutes and you'll be done. And so
can you change the gong to a neighbor's baby crying? Or I'm sorry, no, it'd have to be your own. Yeah, it has to be your own baby.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, theoretically, I guess. But all that being said is that I kind of look at it as it's serving a similar purpose as my meditation practice. Whereas if I'm meditating and I fall asleep, I know my body needed sleep, you know? And so I don't feel like, oh, darn, I fell asleep while meditating. That was terrible. That's a real waste of my time.
Well, you just said something that sparked a question.
Yeah.
Can you fall asleep when your body doesn't need to sleep?
I think so. I mean, I guess that, well, okay. Do you feel like one of the walking tired? Like,
I'm curious because like in my life, I try to stay awake as long as possible to do things all the time with as little sleep. Like I want to minimize the amount that I need to sleep, but I've never come across the problem where like, oh man, I just keep napping. Like, you know, like I don't know. That's if your brain and your body are like, no, we've got plenty of sleep. Can you still fall asleep? Like this morning, for example, real quick.
Yeah. Okay.
This morning, the dog woke me up at like 6:45 to be fed. And so I got up, fed the dog, came back into bed, and I realized, hey, I feel real good. I got like a good night's sleep last night. And I laid there for like 2 minutes. I was like, I'm not going back to sleep. And so I got up and started doing things. But like, what if I had really tried to go to sleep? Would I have been able to? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I've definitely run into problems where some nights I have trouble going to sleep and my mind starts racing. Like I wake up and I've found a lot of success in going with it, like getting up, letting the dog out, keeping the lights down low. If my mind's racing on a particular subject, journaling on it, and then I come back to bed. And I'm able to go out no problem.
Sounds like your brain needed to process some more information before it was ready for shutdown.
Yeah. And so, like, I think that idea of productivity versus napping is kind of core to that. Makes it a values question rather than a scientific question, right? Like, hey, if I nap, I'm being lazy. But if you look at like hardworking figures in history, like scientists and CEOs, they've used napping as a tool to get more out of each day. So like they've found, many people have found, the napping makes them more productive. You know, instead of I'm too busy to nap, I'm so busy I need to nap. You know, right. So yeah, I don't know. It's something I've been thinking a lot about and reading a lot about, and then. Now I'm like, oh wow, this lucid dreaming thing. I wonder if I'm going to start looking into if there are ways where I can promote that kind of thing for my brain to maybe have a little bit more fun during that time. You know, I don't know. Like I'm kind of in a weird biohacking sleep phase.
You're not having enough fun in real life, so you gotta do it in your dreams.
Well, I've got to install Linux on everything, including my brain,
your own
obviously.
Brain. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, more on this as it develops, my friends.
Oh boy, exciting! All right, well that wasn't your science, but cool. Maybe it was. Okay, so here's the deal for this episode. We're not doing book club this week. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to take a break now, and then when we come back, we're going to do our future or now section and talk about what book club is for next week.
All right.
Mostly because I really got to pee. So we'll be right back. You ever notice how everyone in sci-fi movies has a secret society they belong to? The Jedi, the Bene Gesserit, the Illuminati, or whatever? Well, guess what? So do we. It's called our Patreon, and if you join at patreon.com/sciencefactionpodcast, you'll get access to exclusive content, our Discord, and knowledge that normal listeners will never understand. Join us, or remain in the dark. Your call. And we're back.
Heyo.
Hey,
Hi.
what's up?
And big thank you to our patrons, Renee and Josh. Keep it up. Thank you.
What about no Martha?
I don't know. I
haven't seen.
I can't see who's.
Well, I haven't. I've gotten no email notifications, Martha.
Mom, it's okay. I still love you.
He's lying. I can see him. He's lying.
You're wonderful.
Thanks for listening, Ben's mom. Okay. So like I said before, this episode's going to be a little different. We've chosen our book for next week. Ben, take it away.
Yeah. So, hey, y'all. Guess what's really cool? The Internet Archive. And one of the many things that is cool on Internet Archive, which you can reach at archive.org, is that there's been a lot of uploading of scans of Omni magazine, which ran for many, many years and was a great place to find short science fiction. And so we will have a link to the Best of Omni Science Fiction 6 from the year 1983, which a couple of the hosts were born in that year. And we're going to read A Brief Dance to the Music of the Spheres by Michael Kurland from that.
Yep.
And so, that should be fun.
Click the link, check it out for next week, and we will chat about it. So, because we're doing that next week and there's no book club this week, now we get to do our future or now.
Now.
I'm going to quickly say a few words about Andor Season 2 because my co-hosts have not watched it yet.
Shame on us.
Shame on you. It premiered last week, and its premiere was 3 episodes. It was a 3-episode premiere. Go ahead and ask your question, Ben.
Yeah. So why 3 episodes?
I'm so glad you asked. It's because it is one arc. This season is broken up into 4 different story arcs with a time jump of a year between each one. So
why don't they just release 4 episodes?
I'm
4
not
weeks?
Disney. I don't know why. But I will say that watching those 3 episodes gives a really clear picture on the direction for the rest of the season and what is happening in the world of Star Wars at that time period. They used BBY, which is cool. It's 4 BBY before the Battle of Yavin.
Okay. Gotcha. Which the first season started off 5 BBY.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So we get 3 different stories on 3 different planets in those 3 episodes, all intercut, of course. And we know that they've also announced that the final episode is going to be Andor going off on whatever he's doing at the Ring of Kafrene, which you will know, Ben, as where Andor was at the beginning of Rogue One. So this season will go right into the movie. And of course, spoilers, the movie goes right into A New Hope. So look forward to that.
Yeah.
So watch.
And how would I know that the first season of Andor started off at 5 BBY? Well, because I finally watched Rogue One, which we talk about on Patreon, and then I also watched the first episode of the first season with my son, and it was like, 5 BBY. That's right.
Amazing.
Before the Battle of Yavin.
Yep. That was the old now it's called Legends nomenclature. When all the novels would come out, they'd have to see where they were on the timeline. And the Battle of Yavin is their year 0. That's their Jesus. So,
which is when the first Death Star was destroyed. If people don't know what the Battle of Yavin is,
spoilers, man, come on. yeah, that's the Battle of Yavin. And that first 3 episodes, amazing, absolutely amazing. If you enjoyed Andor season 1, if you enjoyed Rogue One, it's more of that and better. So
sweet,
enjoy.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of an interesting thing that kind of came out of it. I know I talked a little bit about like maybe I should read the scripts. And Tony Gilroy had said that he was going to release a website that had all of the scripts from Andor.
Season 1?
For season 1, back in 2023, he said that.
Oh.
And some time has passed. It hasn't happened. And according to nerdbot.com, on March 11th of this year, Tony Gilroy has changed his mind and said that he was concerned about AI. And basically the plagiarism machine that is that, and that you know what? Sorry, it's too much. Why help? As he says, why help the effing robots any more than you can? It was an ego thing. It was vanity that makes you want to do it, and the downside is real. So vanity loses.
What he's not saying is that the mouse said no because they need to sell it to us in a hardback. Softback, and
I'll take it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sure.
And he's also the head writer or whatever of this season, and so like they do there's like the after show things or not after show things they posted online that like talk about that first story arc, and he's interviewed and stuff. It's pretty cool.
We need to finish because we haven't. I want to finish Daredevil. Jen, I think, doesn't like it as much because it got too violent, which I want to keep watching. So we have to finish that. I definitely want to watch Andor.
Yep.
And then a new season of You, the last season of You came out.
Yeah,
so we just started that.
We're a couple seasons behind on that one.
Yeah, Wandla just came back too. So
what?
Wandla, Wondla, the post-apocalyptic TV series, animated TV series on Apple TV.
The Last of Us season 2 as well. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's the other one.
Too.
There's a lot,
but Wandla was great. Check it out. First season was amazing, and
Yep.
And Steven, I remember you got really excited about it because it was all about a girl growing up with an AI that like in a vault underneath the.
That sounds amazing. I have yet to watch it. That sounds great.
Okay. Yeah. Well, hey, give it a shot. This first season was incredible with Terry Hatcher and
fantastic. Hey, Devin,
right.
Tell us about the strongest hints yet of biological activity outside the solar system.
All right. So I was wondering if you guys had talked about this. I checked the notes, and it looks like you guys didn't talk about this yet,
We
right?
did not. No.
Are you familiar with it? Have you heard anything about it?
I'm familiar with it. I heard some stuff.
Okay. Well, this is from a Science Daily article published April 16th. The strongest hints yet of biological activity outside the solar system. Astronomers have detected the most promising signs yet of a possible biosignature outside the solar system, although, of course, they remain cautious. And this is based on information from the James Webb Space Telescope. And this is led by University of Cambridge. They've detected chemical fingerprints of dimethyl sulfide and or dimethyl disulfide in the atmosphere of the planet K2-18b, which is an exoplanet, and we know it orbits its parent star in the habitable zone.
Nice, the Goldilocks.
Goldilocks zone, exactly. Although, where do they say how far away it is? Did I just miss that? I know it's like 100 light years away.
It's pretty far.
Around there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not something we will... Okay, it lies 124 light years away in the constellation of Leo. And so, first off, okay, well, why is it important? Because this is a molecule that we only know to be produced by life, specifically life in an ocean, here on Earth, like from algae, which is why it would be a pretty good sign of life. It's possible, although I don't think we've ever seen this molecule arise naturally without life, but they're not ruling that out. So what they say is the observation has reached the 3 sigma level of statistical significance, meaning there is a 0.3% probability that they occurred by chance. To reach the accepted classification for scientific discovery, the observations would have to cross the 5 sigma threshold, meaning they would have to be below a 0.0006% probability they occurred by chance. Now, my question for that, and this is only because I'm not a scientist, so I don't know exactly. I've definitely heard that the sigma level statistical significance, it's a when the Higgs boson came out, they were like they finally reached the 5 sigma threshold for knowing that they had discovered it. I think this means it's the 3 sigma significance of having detected this molecule, not that it necessarily means that life exists. Because we'll never actually know whether it's caused by life unless you went there and checked.
Right.
But we can say through spectroscopy, which is the way we detected it, we're 3 sigma level statistical significance that we've actually detected this molecule in the atmosphere. I'm pretty sure what that's referring to. Whereas because you're always testing against the null hypothesis, which is basically this occurred by chance. So they're sure the 0.3%, certain that this molecule actually exists in the atmosphere of this planet. I think that's what that's saying. Not that it's that they're that certain that there's life on the planet.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's just all about is what we think we saw,
sure
what we really saw.
Our data is actually saying what it's saying.
Right. But yeah. I mean, the fact that hey, this molecule on Earth is only detectable because of life is pretty exciting.
Definitely.
Like
not only it's like
not only is it exciting because hey, maybe there's life there, but also hey, maybe there's some process on this other planet that makes this without life. That would be exciting too.
It would be exciting. Not as exciting, but we do have to investigate all those other possibilities and rule them out before we can say, well, look, the most likely cause of this is life. And once we get there, that's going to be very awesome.
Yeah.
So this planet itself is 8.6 times more massive than Earth and 2.6 times larger than Earth. It is 124 light years away. So it's a methane and carbon dioxide atmosphere. This was the first time that carbon-based molecules were discovered in the atmosphere of an exoplanet in the habitable zone. Those results are consistent with predictions for a Hycean planet, a habitable ocean-covered world underneath a hydrogen-rich atmosphere.
Wow.
So I've seen other people discuss this, saying that was one thing. First was predicting that this type of planet would exist, a ocean-covered world with a hydrogen-rich atmosphere, and then finding these molecules that can exist within that type of atmosphere. However, another weaker signal. Okay. Well, they talked about how they used the James Webb Telescope to detect it, and they're still obviously going to do more observations and confirm what they've done, and use other methods to try to confirm what they've detected. They talk about how spectroscopy, using the light from the parent star that goes through the atmosphere of the exoplanet, and then we can see the different wavelengths, which tell us which type of elements are within that atmosphere, which is how we detected it. One thing I saw in a different article, I don't think they necessarily say, here's another thing about these molecules, is that at least on Earth, but that's based on our atmospheric composition, that these molecules will break down quickly. And so that's another reason why it's a sign of life, because there would have to be something replenishing the source for this, at least within our the conditions we have on Earth. That might not be true there. Also, this article does say that to detect it, there's way more of this stuff in the atmosphere there than there is on Earth. I don't remember what it is, but they talk about the parts per million, and it's a lot higher there, which either, again, it's a different system, so we don't know if that makes it more common, but also it could just mean that whatever life is producing it, there's a lot of that type of life producing this type of molecule. So it's pretty cool. I mean, it's going to take, possibly decades to really get a confidence to say whether this is a clear sign of life. I mean, we could look back at this discovery and be like, that was it. That was when we finally confirmed, or not confirmed, but when we first got the real evidence that eventually was confirmed to be life on another planet.
Yep. Like we always knew was there.
And I mean, yeah, and then hopefully we find more and more. I mean, it's
it's all about knowing
so
what
likely
to look for.
that there's got to be life all over the place.
Yep. Not necessarily intelligent life. That's also
that's a whole other question.
There's a lot of unintelligent life on this planet. Like plants and dogs and humans, all kinds of stuff. It's great. Yeah. Cool, man. Anything else?
I think that's about it.
I watched a video. I think Hank. We were talking about Hank Green a lot. That he did on this, which was pretty good.
Nice.
Because he's like, hey, this is the news that came out, but here's like what it really means. I also watched something similar that he did about the wolf thing. The dire wolf thing.
We did not bring dire wolves back.
No, we didn't. We talked about that a little bit.
We brought back something much worse.
Werewolves. Okay, let's move along. Ben, tell us something. Is it future? Is it now? What is it?
Well, I'd say that this is now, and this is a cool guide to rewiring your brain for better habits and growth. So, it's just a set of 12 things that you kind of start off with. That's kind of posed as a graphic that looks like Candyland, but
hey, that's cool.
Right? Like, it's an easy way to get this infographic going. And really, like, it starts off with interrupting negative thoughts. Catch and replace harmful thoughts. Each shift weakens old patterns. And then, kind of moves along, like sleep better is here on here, which is all about reinforcing neural pathways and building them, essential for memory and growth. Hey, reframe challenges. You have the ability to see obstacles as growth opportunities, and that helps you build resilience. You could celebrate small wins and recognize the impact of stress, because chronic stress does weaken neural pathways. Like this entire idea of trying to me to work on sleep. A large part of it is to decrease the impact of stress. Learning something new, setting clear goals, surrounding yourself with positivity.
That's dumb. Don't do that. Stupid. Oh.
Right? And then also staying patient. Right? Persistence rewires the brain for growth. So here are some things where hey, listener, you matter and your health matters. Look after yourself, man. I guess is all I gotta say about that.
This is a really good chart. I'm looking at it and thinking, hey, all of these things on this chart are things my therapist told me.
Yeah. And so if you're interested in more, you can consider looking up Benjamin Bargetzi for the neuroscience of growth, who I imagine a lot of this stuff kind of comes from that. But this is a nice little summary.
Yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
All right. So if you can't afford a therapist, read this infographic.
Or even if you do afford a graph, because all tickets to your health are good tickets, right? Like,
what do you mean tickets?
It's if you're going on a train, to your personal health, any ticket to get there is a good ticket.
Oh, okay.
That's all I'm
see what
saying.
you're saying. Any path you can take
is
that's
a good path
because you've chosen to pick a path.
Yeah.
I mean,
the journey is important. The destination is important. But there's a lot of different ways that point there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man.
How do you interrupt negative thoughts, Ben?
Dude. Oh man. Actually, that's something that kind of came up recently. Yesterday I had some, like, a couple of times this person I felt like I had slighted 23 years ago
Oh my gosh. Okay.
start cropping up in circumstances where it's like, oh, I didn't, and my brain was like, hey, remember when you declined to hang out with this person, you put somebody else in a bad situation, and tell them like, yeah, Ben's not really interested in hanging out with you. And it's like, wow, that was terrible. But that's also something that occurred 23 years ago. I am not that person anymore. I am the person who's learned from that mistake. And so one of the things that I recognize is that also is a slight not to that person, but to my memory of that person. So this morning, I actually wrote a letter of apology to my memory of that person. Not something I'm going to necessarily share with them because I'm not really talking to them. Like, why burden them with something?
I really don't want to talk to that person.
Well, it's
it's like it doesn't, not real. It's just funny. Like, I slighted that person. I wrote them a letter. Man, I hate that person. I'm not talking to that person ever again.
I think it's more just like, why burden them with my own insecurities?
To them, they've gotten over it or don't remember it, and you're going to be like, oh, hey, remember that time I did that bad thing to you? And I'm like, I didn't think it was a big deal, but I didn't realize you. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like if I were to bring that up, and it wasn't anything that necessarily impacted them, like, who am I doing that for? And so what's really nice is the act of journaling, being able to get that out and to set your mind at ease. That, I guess there's often times when I think about people in the past that I haven't talked to in a long time, or I'm like, oh, I wonder where they are, what's going on. And sometimes your remembrance of these things is actually like a fiction, right? Like, things did not happen the way that you expected them to. So you thinking about a different way for them to happen is actually as much of a fantasy as you remembering it in the first place, because our minds are fickle.
So it sounds like, to interrupt your negative thoughts,
yeah,
you need to process that information. And you have found to process that information, writing it down is helpful for you.
Yeah.
So you come across something that goes like, hey, remember when you kicked that cat that one time? And you go, well, I can't go back to the cat and unkick it. So let's figure out the reasons and the whys and let's write about that and get it out in that way, and then move on. So do you feel like you can move on now that you've written this stuff down?
It kind of helped me unpack something, which was interesting as a young person, because this was a pseudo romantic relationship.
Oh, do we know who this was?
No.
Okay.
No. This was like high school.
Oh,
time.
okay.
But like, helping me unpack this mistake that I had in my mind, which was a romantic relationship is a shortcut to get like companionship and friendship, right?
Okay.
Like, and that sometimes that works out, sometimes it doesn't, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the friendship that was there was garbage,
Yeah.
It is what it was. And so it's just an interesting sort of thing of like recognizing now, it's like, no, hey, like I have my romantic relationship needs settled. I'm married, everything's good. But like, there is a certain respect that I didn't have as a young person for relationships and friendships built outside of romance that I wished were more romantic, if that makes any sense.
Kind of.
Yeah. And so now I have the ability to respect the friendships that I have in a deeper way, because now I recognize, oh wow, that was a fallacy I had about that.
Hey, you've had growth. Well done.
Right.
job.
Here I am 23, 24 years later.
Good job. Good job growing. And if you want me to send that letter to Devin, just let me know and I'll send it to him for you.
Man, that cut really close there. Devin, I'm really sad that our friendship didn't develop into the romance that I always hoped it would be.
Aren't we all? Devin's a tough nut to crack.
Yeah.
All right. With all silly jokes aside,
good night, everybody.
It's time. Good night, everybody. But really, yeah, we're done here. We've done it all. Just want to remind everyone, book club next week. Check out our link for the Best of Omni Science Fiction #6, and we are reading A Brief Dance to the Music of the Spheres by Michael Kurland. That's a mouthful. And go watch Andor and The Last of Us and Wandla and whatever else.
And
Daredevil and Severance season 2. And
oh yeah, you finish that?
Yeah,
I did. Anyways, there's lots to talk about, and perhaps we'll get there next week. So
there's a new season of Black Mirror.
Oh, that's right, with a sequel episode to
the Star Trek one,
the Callister episode, the Star Trek one, which I haven't watched the sequel. We plan on watching the first one again and then watching the sequel. But I've watched a couple episodes of the other episodes of the new season of Black Mirror. Because I was on a 9-hour and then 11-hour plane flight, so I had a lot of time.
Yeah,
but and those are pretty good. Like,
did you have Wi-Fi access or did you download them?
No, I downloaded them beforehand.
Okay, that's cool.
But because I don't know if you guys watched the last season of Black Mirror, because I remember talking about it and you guys hadn't seen it.
No, I don't think I ever.
No, I didn't watch it.
Yeah, Anyway, this season, last season had like 1 or 2 good episodes, but other than that, it was a really weird season. This season so far, of the 2 episodes I've seen, have been like classic Black Mirror, like really
nice.
good.
Oh, cool.
I mean, that's either awesome or it's all downhill from there. So
it's true. Yeah, I mean, I've only watched 2 of the. Did they come? 6 episodes, I think. So
that's not bad.
So far, that's a good percentage.
That trailer for Love, Death, and Robots looked
that looks good too.
epic. That looked really good.
And then you sent us the trailer for the. Well, so there's the Predator like animated thing, but there's also a new movie, Borderlands, coming out, or is that the same thing?
No, that's different. That's a whole nother thing. Yeah.
And there's Alien Earth.
There's
so much content.
There's a lot coming. All the brains that got together during the lockdown, all the fruits of their labors are now coming to be. Think about it that way.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right.
Here we are, 5 years later.
5 years later, no closer to finding a cure.
Yeah. Well, way to go, humankind. Way to go, our society.
Good job, dummies.
Yeah.
Devin, you have any final thoughts for us?
No.
All right. Ben, do you have any last words?
The punchline always comes first. You know the worst part about time travel jokes?
Good night, everybody.
This has been the Science Faction Podcast. Tweet to the host at SciFact Podcast. Email them at sciencefactionpodcast@gmail.com and visit sciencefactionpodcast.com for more episodes.